Income inequality in the U.S. has been growing astronomically since the 1970s. It has become such an issue that Obama has been quoted saying it's the defining challenge of our time. There are many opinions as to how we should fix this extreme gap, but first, what's causing it? Some believe that the market is to blame, and that even though the U.S. is defined as having a mixed economy, it has been resembling a free market economy more and more. In this type of economy, where prices for goods and services are set freely by vendors and consumers, income inequality is inevitable. So how do we fix it? One method people believe will lower the wealth gap is to tax the wealthy and give the money to the poor. The benefit of this is obvious. The wealthy would get less wealthy and the poor would become more wealthy. It seems logical, right? Well, the marginal cost of this method proves otherwise. You can't just equally distribute money, otherwise there would be no incentive for people to work. Everyone would just save their money. Another cost of raising taxes is the effect it has on small businesses. One small business owner explained how higher taxes won't just hurt him, but his workers as well. Since his business goes on his personal taxes, he is one of those people that qualifies for the tax increase. That means yearly he'll have to pay $8,000 more per year, which he doesn't have, forcing his workers to earn less money and making his business suffer. So what happens if we do nothing? What gets impacted?
Gross domestic product, or GDP, is greatly affected by income inequality when being taxed. On average, in the long run, the effect can be larger than about negative 4.5%. This leads to a lower GDP per capita. Increases in the level of income inequality have a negative effect on the total GDP. While the average effect of income inequality on GDP per capita is negative and significantly different from zero, it varies from country to country and what their initial income level is. This affects our economy because of the tremendous differences for income made. Because there is such a big poor class and the middle class does not make as much anymore, America's GDP is negatively brought down. Also, when our unemployment rate was up, income inequality hurt our GDP more because as people made less, they were taxed less. Marginal rate is the percent of tax applied to your income for each tax bracket in which you qualify for. Essentially, as you make more, you are taxed more. It is proportioned this way so that the lower and middle class are not taxed the same as the million and billionaires. One policy option that has generated significant attention and will continue to do so in the 2016 election is increasing income taxes on top earners and in turn giving those funds to those on the bottom. An article was recently published by Brookings Economic Studies that showed that this policy would actually not affect income inequality. So raising taxes for top earners didn't move the needle on inequality. But what if these new taxes were redistributed equally to the bottom 20% of all American households? According to their model, that too had surprisingly little impact on improving inequality. Enjoy this video.
Thanks for watching us tonight. Income inequality in America, that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. It's becoming clear that Hillary Clinton will try to convince American voters that she can solve a very vexing problem.
As you look across the country, the deck is still stacked in favor of those already at the top. And there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong when CEOs make 300 times more than the typical worker.
But now come accusations that Hillary Clinton herself is making far more money than most CEOs. We'll get to that in a moment. But it is the notion that somehow our capitalistic system has gone corrupt, and the feds must punish those making money that'll be in the forefront of the 2006 campaign. This year, 2015, the feds will gather more tax dollars than ever before in the history of the USA. About $3 trillion. That's because since taking office, President Obama has proposed a whopping 442 tax increases, not counting 20 others associated with Obamacare. As you may know, Americans earning more than $400,000 a year must pay close to 40% of their income to the feds. Social Security taxes increased from 4.2 to 6.2%. All workers pay that. And itemized deductions, which can bring tax bills down, now being phased out for high-wage earners and profitable businesses. In fact, the USA has the highest tax rate on business in the world. invest in business. Short-term cap gains now close to 40%. Long-term cap gains up 15 to 20%. There's also an additional 3.8% tax on investment income to pay for Obamacare. So you can see, you have to be able to see, the taxes are everywhere on affluent Americans and business profits. But for the rest of Americans, things aren't so bad. Bottom 60% of wage earners pay just 2.7% of all federal income taxes. The bottom 40% actually get money from the feds. They receive payments called earned income tax credits. According to financial analyst Alexander Green, who works for the Oxford Club, the tax burden on business and investors drives down job creation and economic expansion. I believe that because I've cut back investing due to the heavy capital gains hit. Why should I risk my money? And I know small business people who will not hire because the feds are all over them with additional taxes and regulations. Yes, there is a big gap between the very rich and the working class here. But how much more can the government take from the affluent without crashing the entire free market economy? That's the real question of campaign 2016. And one more thing, if Hillary Clinton is going to continue the punishing taxation that Barack Obama has imposed, we all need to know that, because the result is likely to be the same: stagnant take-home pay. Again, only way salaries will go up in America is for private industry to expand, creating more jobs and more competition for workers.
So there you have it. Now we know why this topic is so astronomically important to our American society.
This is our works cited. Thank you, Mr. Reuter. The end.